Assalamualaikum and hi, I'm Fatin and I would like to talk about my own life experience. So last year, for the first time in my life, I went for a trip with my friends to Ipoh Perak. We stayed at one of my friend's house, which is Rose, because she lives in Ipoh. Me and Azrin, who live in Selangor, and one of my friends named Eliana, who live in Kota Baru, Kelantan, decided to pay her a visit since we last saw each other about in 2019. Actually, we planned to meet in March, but because of the pandemic, we had to push back our plan and finally meet in September. It was a short 3 days and 2 nights vacation, so we listed down the places that we wanted to visit. From Kota Baru, Kelantan to Ipoh Perak, it takes about 7 to 8 hours by bus, while from Kuala Lumpur to Ipoh Perak, it takes about 2 to 3 hours by electronic train system ETS. As soon as we got there, we went for a lunch at a local shopping mall. Then we went to Rose's home to put away our luggages, performing our prayers, and rest for a bit before we went out again. At night, we ate our dinner and went to the cinema to watch the latest movie. The movie ended at midnight, so we went straight back home to get some sleep and prepare for a big day tomorrow. On the next day, we started our day with Malaysia's representative local food, which was nasi lemak, cooked by Rose's mom. Then we visited the Memory Lane Ipoh. It was a nice place for local made products such as keychains and lots of souvenir that represents Ipoh to bring back home. We had some coffees there, take some pictures, and went to our next location. Our next listed place was the famous Lost World of Tambun. We had so much fun there playing with various water slides and a few rides at their theme park. We finished our second day by strolling around the local night market and had our simple dinner at Dataran MBI food court. Finally, on the last day, we headed to Tasik Cermin Gunung Rapat after having a simple breakfast. When we reached there, we were told to park our car at the provided area, and little did we knew that we had a long way ahead to reach Tasik Cermin. We need to go through a dark cave about 2 to 3 meters ahead, and we used our phone's flashlight as the only source of lights because there was no street lamp provided. We took some pictures there about 45 minutes because there were more people coming in, and we headed straight to Dataran Jam for a simple snack, took some pictures, and went to our final destination. Kelly's Castle was our final destination before we went back home. It had a really nice view, even though it was abandoned long ago. I do feel a bit eerie as we went through the rooms and read the histories behind the buildings, but it was such a great experience. We missed to buy the famous pomelo because we need to rush to catch our train back home. It's sad. It's the only sad thing that happened during our trip, but it's okay. We said our goodbye to each other with lots of kisses and hugs and went our separate way home. On a closing note, it was a very memorable and enjoyable experience for me, and I look forward for another trip later on once the pandemic ends. Thank you. So my second story was about my own life experience for the first time living in hostel. Everything started back in 2016 when I was admitted into the second intake of Polytechnic Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah, which also known as Polysas in Kuantan Pahang. The moment I got the news, I was beyond excited, and I got the course that I really wanted to learn, even though I have no idea about it. And I was the only family member who got to further my studies in the East Coast zone of Malaysia. The course that I chose was Diploma in Halal Management of Food Technology. The word halal intrigued me to choose this course because as a Muslim, everything we consume need to be halal, especially in food, pharmaceutical and cosmetics. As soon as I reached there, I went straight to the hostel management office, and I was lucky enough to get a room on the ground floor. No need to climb upstairs. It was actually a room of 4, but they need to put an extra bed in the middle of the room for the 5th member, which was me. It also applied to other rooms as well. It did seem a bit odd. Then I later found out that the student intake of that particular session was the highest compared to the previous year. So they made a sudden decision by putting an extra bed in the middle of the room, although it was a bit crumpled, which with 5 of us in the room, because the room just nice for 4 people. The icing of the cake was that I didn't need to go through the orientation session as class already had started. The student for the first intake need to go through the orientation week in fasting month. Can you imagine that? How stressful, challenging and exhausting for them? Because Polysas itself, the geography is hilly, it's not flat ground. So they really need to get up super early and go to bed super late and repeat the routine for about a week. I do feel pity for them because we also know that fasting month is really challenging for us. Next, in the first few weeks there, I found it hard to blend in with the surrounding, especially my roommates, as I was the only one from Selangor, while my roommate was from Kelantan, Pahang, and Terengganu. I find it a bit hard to start a conversation with them first, as I'm a shy person. But luckily for me, the one who next my bed was taking the same course as me, and she kindly explained every one of my curiosity about the course. I feel really thankful for that. As I missed 2 weeks worth of classes, I'm a little bit behind, and I'm afraid to ask my classmates, as I'm afraid that I might take away their precious time and their expressions looks intimidating. That give me enough reasons for not talk to them. No. But during lunchtime, there's this one girl who approached me first and asked to join them for lunch. And we started to get close from there. I really thankful, as I feel a little bit lonely by myself, and she taught me a really important lesson by not to judge a book by its cover. She was way nicer than I thought, and my evil brain just think that as she was pretty, she's gonna be like arrogant and snobbish. That's so rude of me, and I feel really guilty for that even now. As she was from Kelantan, we had some miscommunication sometimes, but we just laugh it off. And I learned a little bit about their dialect because I want to understand really bad when they speak to me. But what I found it unique and interesting, that they've got it right away when I speak to them normally. but I hardly understand what they were saying. I think it because of the local dramas, movies, and news that they watch on television that gives them an advantage to learn about the Bahasa Malaysia, normal Bahasa Malaysia. And lastly, as time goes by, I got really close with my classmates, and we can easily jokes around every time we bump into each other. It was a really, really memorable moment for me when I was in diploma, and it held a very special place in my heart. So that's all from me. Thank you.